Hello, Pete from Do You Even Blog here. In this video, I'm actually going to show you how I used ChatGPT to code a fully functioning MERN stack application. It's been a little while. I've been working on this for like a month, and it could have been done in a week. Knowing what I know now, I want to share with you roughly what the app is, just to show what this thing can do. And I actually had ChatGPT itself generate a recipe, literally a recipe, like a cooking recipe, preheat the server with Express. And then I want to go over, you probably wouldn't use this step by step, but it's a good example. And then I have some notes here on if you wanted to code an app, a Chrome extension, a WordPress plugin, a mobile app even, like anything. If you wanted to do this stuff, whether you're a developer or not, I have some notes on how you could get started. So with that said, I'll just show off. So I'm building something for bloggers to help them use ChatGPT that actually sounds like them and their brand and their style and their voice and et cetera, by saving their brand details and then automatically prompting the ChatGPT with their brand stuff. So that's what I built here. It's really simple so far. It's actually going to have ChatGPT integration later this week right here, so people won't even need to sign up for ChatGPT. They can just use it in the app. And I have like custom prompts that are pulling their brand information, post information, and I have like click to copy functionality where that just clicks and copies right into ChatGPT. And it has users, hashed passwords stored on a MongoDB Atlas database, and log in, log out, forgot password capabilities, like the whole 9 yards. And it's a little ugly so far because it's super brand new. Some of these I've already styled, like this is already styled and stuff. But in general, it's been fun. So I want to walk you through a few things in case you've been interested in trying AI out for development or coding or whatnot. Actually, before I do this, let me just say something straight to the camera. I don't think you need to be a full-on developer to do this, of course. I also don't think you can be a complete noob and not understand anything about development and do this. Or if that is you and you want to build an app or browser extension or something like that, it's just going to take a little bit longer. I do think there are principles which you kind of need to understand in order to get the AI to actually do this for you. The AI can handle all coding and technical implementation, but if you don't understand some of the principles behind web development and, just coding in general, like really broad stuff, not like really beginner stuff, then I don't think you'd be able to do this very well. But I actually have some tips for you in order to do that. Before I do that, before we get to the tips on how you might do that, I asked ChatGPT. By the way, here I have my entire app open. Like, here's my app, by the way. Like, there's a ton of stuff in here. All code was pretty much generated by ChatGPT, and there's a lot, right? It looks super complicated when you look at it like this, and it is, and I can't really tell you a whole lot about how some of this stuff works, but honest to goodness, like 98% of this was done with ChatGPT, and the other 2% was me Googling and figuring out like how to do stuff. So there you go. Basically, after I created my app, I was like, hey, could you create like a recipe for other people to like create this in the future? And ChatGPT said, sure, here's the recipe, quite literally. And they meant it as like a cooking recipe. That's actually how they format it. Ingredients: MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js. That's the MERN stack, MERN. I'd never done a MERN stack app before. I did this, but it was easy. Or not easy. It was actually pretty difficult at some points, but it was simple. It was straightforward. It was not like overly complicated. There were things I had to figure out, but there you go. Instructions: create a Express and Node server. Step 2, step 3, step 4. You don't need to know what any of this does. And this is one of my big points here. What you can do is prompt AI for the steps, the broad steps. That's what this is. I had it give me the broad steps. There's 7 of them for creating a full stack MERN application. Okay, it did that. I don't understand what any of this is. Neither do you. Who cares? What you do next is you take just this first part and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. walk me through step by step how to do install and import Express. And it'll do it. And then ask it to explain anything you don't understand, and then rinse and repeat this cycle. So that was basically my tips here. By the way, I'll leave a link to this in the description below this video. It's public. You don't have to opt in for it or anything. It's just out there on the internet if you want to go look at it, as well as my notes. So that'll be in the description below. Speaking of notes, so here we go. This above is just an example of what you could get when you prompted AI, hey, I want to create a fill in the blank, give me the overall steps. Just an example. The point is, like I've already mentioned, is to take that and then prompt the AI for exactly what you need, the very next step, and then the sub steps. So break down more detail, step 1.1, and let the AI take care of all the technical stuff. You don't have to know how to code. You do have to understand sort of how things work, which you can get the AI to explain for sure. You're more like God in this scenario, or the CEO of a company might be a better thing. You want this app, you don't know how to build it, who cares? What you know how to do is tell other people how to build it. What you know how to do is prompt the AI to build it. You need to understand how to do that. So here's what I recommend doing. Number one, tell the AI what you want to create. And by the way, this happens at the very beginning of a project as well as in each step, in each feature of an app. Yesterday, I was a little overwhelmed because oh my gosh, I don't know how to do forgot password functionality. I have no clue how to do this. And sending an email from the back end, I had no idea. But I prompted the AI, hey, I have a merge stack application. Here's my YML, my YAML file. I'll tell you about that in a second. And then I said hey, I want to introduce a reset password feature. What are the broad steps? Tell the AI what you want and prompt for the very broad steps. And then optionally, if there's anything you don't understand, just ask the AI to explain it to you. It sounds simple enough. 9 times out of 10, ChatGPT 4 or GPT-4 in ChatGPT is more than likely accurate when it comes to coding stuff. That's something that the AI can actually do really well for the most part, I've found. Much more so than current events or even blogging and stuff. So tell the AI what you want and ask for the broad steps. And then, by the way, this is a optional step number 2. If you have no idea what you're doing, ask AI what tools you need to be using. Ask it okay, I have no idea how to code. What are some of the basic tools, free tools and software I need on my computer in order to do this project? And it'll tell you VS Code. There you go. That's my coding app, and that's the one that everybody seems to be using these days. And you can ask it okay, what is a terminal? It asked me to do something in the terminal, npm init. What is that? And it'll just tell you what it is, and pretty succinctly, and you just go on this vicious cycle of getting things understood, asking the AI to explain things, and then having it do the work. Start with the tools. So as you do this, one thing you'll find really helpful is this .yml file. I don't even know what that means. I just had the app create it for me. You don't even need to know what it is. Ask an AI to create it for you. It should have the details, the purpose, and structure of your app. And I'll just open up mine here. You can kind of see where this would be useful if you're using, so here's my app, right? It's this. It's got just a bunch of details on everything. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is. Well, I do now that I've actually built the app, but I would have had no clue 2 weeks ago. The purpose of this is so you can copy and paste into ChatGPT, and you can tell it, I'm building a MERN stack application. Here's a .yml file that explains the details, purpose, and structure of the app. And then you could literally just copy and paste it in there. I want you to rely on this information. Do you understand? It's going to say, yes, you have a MERN stack app and you're using this. It's called Promptimizer, et cetera, et cetera. And now the AI better understands what you're trying to build. And you'll continue to update this app. In fact, I didn't know about the formatting, and so I kept asking AI to update this. I'm like, okay, we just added this new feature. Here's my current YAML file, my YAML file. Give me an updated YAML file, and then it would just regenerate, right? And I use this every single new chat with ChatGPT just so it has a better understanding of my app. Now it knows my dependencies. It knows my folder structure for the most part. It knows my middleware, controllers, the different roots I have in my file, the server I'm using, the framework I'm using, all sorts of stuff. It knows my app now. It understands the app, the names I'm using for files and folders and functions and like everything. So that way, when I ask it, okay, do this for me, it knows my naming conventions. It knows what my app is and does and functions and everything. It better understands my app. I think that's very, 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 very useful. So going back to my thing here, you'll be maintaining this file as you go and updating it when you add features or create something or whatever. You basically just continue this cycle. Ask the AI for the next step and what you want to do. Actually, the first part is like, I can't. Go back. I'm going to edit this file so you guys can actually see this on the website. The first thing would be like, tell AI what you want. Ask AI for next steps. I mean, that's honestly it right there. Tell the AI what you want, and then ask it for the next step. Ask it to explain things. Optional if you don't understand anything. And then, spoiler alert, you will absolutely get errors. It'll break. Things won't work. Like a lot. Like 90 times out of 100, it will not work. That's okay. Like that's the job of being like a developer, even if you're not a developer, even if you're an AI developer like myself, you're going to have to feed it the errors. And so one thing you can do, first of all, I wouldn't even like tell you how to do this really, but you could even ask the AI like, hey, it's not working. What are the very broad steps I need to do in order to diagnose the issue, to debug? And one of the things it's going to tell you is like, open Chrome DevTools. If you've never used Chrome DevTools, fine. It hopefully will prompt you like, hey, here's what you might want to do. You check out sometimes. So enter in my email here, hit reset password, and something popped out in the console. Not an error because password reset email sent. It's because I fixed it yesterday. But it took me like a hot minute. I was getting errors and errors and errors, trying to figure out what's going on. And I basically just copy those errors right into ChatGPT, be like, hey, I'm getting an error, paste. And then I would have it like walk me through the thing. Another tip that I should have added here now that I think about it. Seriously, that's all. More tip. I actually did put this in here somewhere. Copy, paste in code. Like that's it. When you have errors, especially, the YAML file is not enough if you have like a specific error you're getting. I'll say I'm working on the forgot password thing. I would actually want to copy this in. This is my forgot password page. I would like copy literally the entire thing, and I would tell it like, here's my forgot password.js page code. And then I would come down here and be like, I'm getting this error, and then I would paste in the error, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd be like, help me diagnose, or whatever. Now it has more context. It has your YAML file that you probably pasted in before. It knows the general stuff of the app. Now it has the exact code from your page here, and it's just going to be way more helpful that way. So copy and paste in code a lot to diagnose errors, especially. That's like the number one thing you could do. So I hate to say like it's as simple as that, but it is. I won't say it's easy because it's definitely not. In fact, I ran into actually coding this app. It was a breeze once I started using AI more. It was absolutely a breeze. The first like week or two, I was kind of like stumbling and bumbling a little bit, but once I started using ChatGPT more and started like using this YAML file, especially, it sped things up drastically. But actually getting this on the web, which it is, this is just on my local machine right now, but this is a web app for my AI for Bloggers students only right now. It'll be public once I integrate ChatGPT. There was a week there where I was struggling hardcore deploying the app to the web. I'd never done that before. And I was using ChatGPT. It was still hard. it was still hard because I couldn't just copy and paste code in from my app. I was actually working with, I used Render, which turns out it was actually really simple and easy, but it was just things I didn't know. Like knowing what I know now, I could redeploy another app in an hour, like less than an hour. But at that time, I had no idea what I was doing. And it took me like a week. I mean, like a couple of hours a day for like 5 days. It took me like 18 or 20 hours of work. It was a lot. It was hard. But again, in retrospect now, it's super easy. And I got to figure it out and I don't have to do it again. It's done. But the point is, it is simple, but it's not easy. You're always going to get lots of errors. Even just building, so I built a Chrome extension for a Google Doc, where it would like format your text, your headers. It would remove extra line breaks. It would do internal linking to your site based on some data in another like Excel document. I have this in a Google Apps script, but I wanted to create a browser extension. And I got about an hour into it and I stopped. I could keep going, but I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Like it's not easy, but it is straightforward. Like you follow this cycle and you will get what you want. You can build it. You really can. And the last thing I'll say is you'll be surprised at what you can do. You're going to get to a point after like 2 hours of frustration, be like, this sucks. Like I can't actually do any of this stuff. And then something's going to snap and work. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I did it. What do you know? This was me yesterday with the forgot password thing. That one was actually a little bit trickier. It was harder than the sign up and log in process where I'm like hashing users' passwords and stuff like that. Forgot password was actually harder because I had to implement an email service. But once I got it done, like I was like testing it. And one time I like entered in my email and I hit forgot password. And then I set a new password on that screen. And I was like, it worked. Well, now I'm done. I mean, I got to style this page, but like, oh my gosh, that's it. It's implemented. Thank you, ChatGPT. Anyways, I'm rambling now, but I do think this is possible. I think it's really cool. It was actually a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun project I've done in a couple of years. And I'm going to keep working on my app. I'm going to launch it to the public at some point. And I just want to encourage everybody watching this, like, you can actually build something. If you have any desire to do this, chances are you should try it. There you go. Email me with any questions or hit me up in the YouTube comments. I love you guys and have a lovely day.